Since you clicked this video, I'll get straight to the point. Can you beat Breath of the Wild without wearing any armor? The short answer is yes. I could walk straight from the Great Plateau up to Ganon's door and I'll mollywop him because I'm the greatest video game player that's ever lived.
Bruh.
But because I want this to be a real challenge that utilizes Zelda's mechanics to their fullest, we have some additional goals and rules, so the answer is a little more complicated than just a straight yes. Let's get into it. The first and most obvious rule is I can't wear armor or clothes. This rule has two exceptions because it's technically not possible to complete this video fully naked, but I'll get into that in a second. The second rule is that I have to complete all 4 Divine Beasts and defeat Ganon. The third rule is I will not be using any intentional glitches or exploits. I know speedrunners do some crazy stuff, but we're going to keep it legit on this one. The only exceptions to these rules is obviously when the story forces me to put on armor. But I hope we can all look past that, because when the time comes, there's no combat required, and Can I Beat Zelda with No Armor is a much better title than Can I Beat Zelda with No Armor, other than that one section where the game forces me to wear armor. So I hope you'll forgive me for clickbaiting a little bit. All right, so with the rules out of the way, I think we should take a second and cover what's actually challenging about this, or at least what I'm worried about before I've started the challenge. Freezing to death. Burning to death. Dying from death. You get the point. Honestly, the main factor here will be food. Cooking food and elixirs to solve the weather-related problems, freezing and burning, is going to be essential, as well as cooking food to allow me to take more hits or do more damage or just refill our hearts or things in general that we need to do in order to get through the combat encounters in the first place. Before we worry about all that though, let's just go ahead and start this then. After awakening in a cave to a strange voice in our head telling us what to do, we grab our iPad and get the heck out of here. We stop to loot a few chests with armor that we can't use anyway, and once we exit the cave, we are free to actually begin the challenge. Before talking to the old man, I take a moment and grab everything in the vicinity that might help us. Princess Zelda wastes no time breaking the 4th wall, though, so after grabbing a stick and some mushrooms, I'm treated with her voice telling me what to do again. Equipped with our sticks and mushrooms, we stop briefly at the old man before moving forward. I guess now is as good a time as any to explain what our goals are on the Great Plateau. There is 1 tower and 4 shrines that we'll have to clear before we can leave the Great Plateau. I'm not really too worried about any of these, but we'll see if I'm right about that or not. On the way to the tower, I encounter my first fight with a bokoblin. Perfect. Now I can test what we're dealing with. 1 hit from the bokoblin takes half a heart from me, and to beat him, I have to destroy 2 of my sticks. It's not a very good ratio, but it's not deadly, at least not yet. The next set of bokoblins I attempt to kill, I use the environment and try to roll a boulder to smash them, but I miss 1 of them, and then I mix up my controls because I haven't played Zelda in a long time, and I end up dying. We are off to a stellar start. So we approach the same boulder, and once again I only hit 1 out of the 2 bokoblins, but this time I take the second one more seriously, and as a result of winning this fight, I pick up 2 bokoblin clubs. I start thinking it might be in our best interest to start, avoiding combat when we can, but in trying to make a beeline from the tower from there, there's a bokoblin with a sword and shield to fight. During this fight, I finally figure out how to do a perfect dodge again, and I make light work of him and get my first shield of the run, which is awesome. Then we open up the first tower, and we're off to the races. After obtaining our first section of the map, we set out to hit the first 4 shrines. Of course, the old man shows up, his ability to fly. He's a jerk. I have to run down this freaking tower the long way, and he can just glide. Each one of the 4 starting shrines acts as a different tutorial for one of the game mechanics. Essentially, this means none of these should really be a problem. The first shrine gives us the magnet ability, and you use it to manipulate metal objects to clear the obstacles of the shrine. I was a little bit worried about the guardian in the shrine, but the shield actually makes it a cakewalk, so we completed our first shrine of the run. With 1/4 of the shrines done, we head back down the tower the long way, and we make our way over to shrine number 2. The guardians are a little annoying trying to get to shrine number 2 because they try to shoot you, but it isn't too difficult. We just climb over a couple walls. Is the Nintendo Switch shirt for Link the most immersion breaking piece of DLC content ever? Like, what even is this thing? How does it exist in the world of Zelda? Anyway, forget the rant. Let's get into shrine number 2. Shrine number 2 is the bomb shrine, which is probably the most offensive ability that I can acquire in this game. It's not my personal favorite to use in combat, but it's highly effective. Shrine 2 really isn't any more difficult than Shrine 1. There's no enemies to face, so it's probably technically less difficult. It's just puzzles in the Shrine number 2, so we make light work of it, and that's 2 out of 4 done. We're halfway off the Great Plateau now. Heading to the third shrine has its own host of challenges. For one, it's nighttime in the game, which means skeleton bokoblins are out to fight me. It's not that they're difficult enemies, they actually drop pretty decent weapons for us, but it just means I can't stand still and be safe at any point because they come out of the ground and they're annoying. The enemies that are the most annoying though are the bats. They don't drop anything we actually care about, and they use our weapon durability for basically nothing in return. The other problem getting to the third shrine is that it's at a snowy part of the Great Plateau, so in order to not freeze to death, we'll have to take out a bokoblin camp in order to get access to our first cooking pot of the run. Basically, in Breath of the Wild, certain ingredients when cooked can grant you abilities for a certain period of time. At this bokoblin camp, they have hot peppers that increase your resistance to cold, which is the only possible way that we can survive in the cold in a run like this. So we get our Gordon Ramsay on, cook up a couple spicy fish that give us cold resistance for 5 minutes apiece. Although I think this is enough to get through, I go ahead and cook some spicy mushrooms while I'm at it, just to be safe. Then I cook a few elixirs because we've got monster parts, we might as well use them. My plan here was to eat spicy food, take a speed elixir, and book it to shrine number 3. Then I realized I can't use 2 food effects at the same time. It turns out this challenge is going to be a little harder than I originally thought. See, I thought that I'd be able to stack damage resistance and attack power up, or heat and damage resistance, or just stack multiple effects at the same time, but turns out I can't do that. After resetting my cold resistance, I end up taking out a whole bokoblin camp with a single bomb. Maybe the bomb is more useful than I thought. We make it to Shrine 3 with basically 0 problems. Shrine 3 is the Stasis Shrine, which is actually my favorite of Link abilities in this game. Shrine 3 is another easy shrine though, and like Shrine 2, there's no combat or risk of dying, so basically we only have 1 shrine left to go now. Shrine 4 does have 1 combat encounter, but it's another small guardian, and I handle it easily after I stop trying to parry the laser beam. I promise that if you subscribe now, at some point in this video, I'm going to parry a laser beam, and it's going to look so cool. Oh, you subscribed? Alright, cool. Just wait, it's coming. After that, we wrap up Shrine 4, and now we have to meet up with the old man again so we can get our glider. We make it back to Warmth safely, and then I try my skills out at a bokoblin camp. It's been so long since I played early Breath of the Wild that I forgot that you can't actually stasis enemies as soon as you get the ability. So I guess in this run, stasis is not one of my favorite abilities anymore. Taking the camp out does get us some decent upgrades as far as weapons go though. I head back towards the Temple of Time, which is where we'll be meeting the old dude. I decided to head the other way instead of heading through the cold area again, and well, this happened. The only other notable thing that happens on the way to the Temple of Time is we dive into a ring of lily pads and get a Korok seed. It's highly unlikely that I will call these out throughout the run, so just assume I grab them whenever I see an opportunity. But I don't really plan on going to the Lost Woods anyway, so these really aren't going to be all that useful. At the Temple of Time, we get our first of many heart containers, and now's a good time as any to explain my strategy. I think we're going to focus on heart containers in order to hopefully not get one-shot by every stronger enemy in this game. I haven't tested this by any means, but I'm really just going off vibes for the whole challenge, so hopefully I'm right. In fact, I actually wrote the script as I went, so at this point of the script, I don't actually even know how this challenge ends up. Anyway, I climb up the temple and I meet with the old dude who's actually the king of Hyrule. What? After skipping all of his exposition, we get the glider finally. And so now moving around won't be nearly as annoying. Our next step is going to be to go to Kakariko Village and kick off the next step in the main quest, the Divine Beast. Before that though, I stop and mark the nearest shrine using the binoculars. On the way to that shrine, we grab a horse, which is going to make traveling way easier, and then we hit up the shrine. Unless a shrine is particularly difficult or something, I'm probably not going to go into the shrines moving forward. You kind of get the idea. That being said, at this point in the game, this shrine has 2 little guardians that are kind of a pain to fight. I'm pretty sure we'll basically get one shot by these guys' swords, so I decide on the fly that I'm going to try to use the ice ability to give myself some barriers where the enemies can't get to me. Much to my surprise, 1, that doesn't work at all, and 2, a single laser beam does not kill me at this point. Then I found out there's 2 more guardians in the shrine. Okay, so I end up using a staircase to cheese them, and I also find out that a guardian spear won't kill me in 1 hit. As far as not dying in 1 hit to every enemy, we're off to a pretty good start. Luckily, the end of the shrine is just puzzle and timing stuff, and not combat, so we clear the shrine no problem. Then we take our horse to Impa, and we get this thing moving. But first, we stop and give him an apple, because he's a good boy. I can't overstate how nice it is to have a horse at this stage of the game. So nice, in fact, that on the way to Impa, I stop at the Dueling Peaks stable, register our horse, and name it Donut. We're taking this baby all the way to Ganon. Let's go. All right, so we're at Impa, and before anyone asks, yes, I stopped to help the poo-poo boy, don't worry. For anyone who wants to know where we've been, though, here's my map and all the shrines I've gotten. Now, Impa gives us quests for the 4 Divine Beasts, which is really the only thing I'm trying to do before I go give Ganon a little taste of some Link Smackdown. So, before we leave Kakariko Village, I figure stopping real quick and hitting up the shops, selling all the stuff we're never going to use, and then buying every arrow they have is probably a good idea. I'm going to do this probably at every town we visit moving forward, so I'm just not going to mention it again. The question at this point that I'm sure is on everyone's mind, and it's honestly on my mind as well, is what Divine Beast are we going to take on first? And I'm not saying I'm right about this by any means, but I intend to take the route of Zora, then Goron, Rito, and then Gerudo. I think getting the 2 Divine Beast abilities that help us survive are probably top priority, but I could be wrong on that. I decide we're going to leave our horse in Impa's loving care. I figure I'll pick him back up later, but neither the Zora or the Goron area is going to be very good for Donut anyway. We set off on foot towards the next tower. I make light work of the enemies considering, and we get to the tower safely. Now that we have the lay of the land, getting to the Zora Kingdom shouldn't be too bad. We follow the road and hit the shrines along the way. This is easier said than done though, as a little overconfidence in the first shrine leads to my untimely death. Only a chump gets killed by a minor test of strength, right? I have an awkward pause in the middle of the fight because my low controller battery tries to get me killed. Alright, cool. Back to it. Apparently this time I have my game face on though, and I also remember what I should have known the entire time. The bow is king. We take this guy out without ever getting hit, and nice. We got a few new guardian items. It seems like the shrine taught us a valuable lesson. I need to utilize bows more often. Luckily we pick up a really nice bow as a reward for the shrine. Alright, let's head to the Zora Kingdom. We stop and chat with Prince Sardine and follow the road like I said before. The Octoroks are annoying, and we end up running into a Lizalfo's camp full of lightning bowmen. It's not going to be a good time. We pop the elixir that Prince Sardine gave us and hope for the best. Okay, well, we did better than I thought we would. See, I told you the bow is king. This serves as a really great upgrade point for our bows and arrows, actually, and even though I was terrified going into it, we came out looking really good. Unfortunately, we run into another set of Lizalfos, so it's not over yet. This actually goes way better than I expected, as one of the Lizalfos shoots an electric arrow and helps me take out his friends. I don't think if I did this fight a second time, it would ever go nearly as well as it did this time. We then run into the scripted Moblin fight, and I only have 2.5 hearts. Luckily, I keep my cool and give that Moblin my icy rod. Wait, did I really write give that Moblin my ice? Jesus Christ. Anyway, the next problem on our list is a lightning wizard, but we handle him easily, and this ensures that we can continue to make rod jokes. Awesome. Also, we encounter everything in the water area pretty solidly now. Can I just take a moment to talk about how goated the sledgehammer actually is? It's so easy to just smash crates up and get more loot without using bombs and making everything fly everywhere. After stopping at a campfire, I cook up all of our goodies, and I rest until morning. Then I realize I could glide straight to the Zora Kingdom from here, so I do that. Our best bud Sardine greets us at the gate, and we run straight for the shrine. Can we take a moment to appreciate that when Link is naked, sometimes he hits his toes on the chest when he opens them? It really cracks me up that they add that detail to the game. Skipping right past all the story stuff, in order to progress the story, I have to throw this armor on really quick, so just like, close your eyes, okay? No peeking. Okay, you can open them now. Look, I'm naked again. Alright, here's our problem. The game wants us to use the armor to climb this waterfall. It's the easiest and intended way to reach the Lionel area in order to get the lightning arrows that they want you to steal. So we can't go up the waterfall because of the armor. I can't climb around the waterfall because the Zora Kingdom is perpetually raining, and when you try to climb while it's raining, you just slip and fall. So what's a guy to do about that? Well, my sweet summer child, we take the stairs. Then if you position Link correctly and climb where there's cover above you, you can climb up. And if you position yourself right, you can recover stamina while you're climbing. And then you won't slip and... Okay, you're right. This whole segment is BS. Jake, what are you going to do if you can't get up to the Lionel? You're probably commenting right now. Well, luckily for me and for you, dear viewer, I don't have to. If we just take a quick detour over to Gerudo Town. How did we get here, you ask? Pretty easy. We did some gliding, and then some climbing, and then more climbing, and then we glided again. A quick cold trip through the desert sand. A run through of the Gerudo Town Shrine, which I won't bore you with the details of. We stopped to talk to a guy about sneaking into town because they only allow women in. We do a cold session of Link Hawk Pro Skater, and boom, we're back at the village we passed through on the way. Climb up the tower, talk to a cross-dresser, and now Link the Twink is born. This is another example of having to wear armor to progress the story. I won't keep it on, except for when I'm entering Gerudo Town. Back at Gerudo Town, we throw the armor on quick in order to get inside, head straight for the merchant, which was the point of all of this, and we buy 20 shock arrows. Now back at the first divine beast equipped with our arrows, they will allow us to go inside. Prince Sardine does force me to put the armor on before we can go in, but that's a minor annoyance. This is a very simple segment. We break ice blocks that are coming up at us using our ability. We jump up Ruta's waterfalls, shoot specific targets with electric arrows. And after 4 targets, we're done. Inside the Divine Beast, we immediately take off our armor because I'm not a cheater. Thus begins the tale of Naked Link taking on his first Divine Beast. We have to clear out corruption in order to get to the map terminal. After that, there are 5 terminals we have to hit in order to bring out the boss fight. The boss is the only part of the process of a Divine Beast I'm actually concerned with. Everything else should be really easy. The first shrine is accessed simply by using the magnet and not doing anything else. The second one is a simple ice block timed perfectly and boom. The third terminal requires us to move the snout of the Divine Beast in order to rotate this platform and open a door using the waterfall. I'm not sure that stasis was required here, but I used it anyway, so I don't know. It might have been overkill. We then utilize the Divine Beast again to spin the platform the other way, hop on the platform, and get over to the next area where we take out the Guardian easily and unlock a shortcut we can't use because no armor. Awesome. After some debate about how I want to utilize this snout, we hop down on it, and then we ride up to collide with the Divine Beast head. Inside the head, we open a door and have the snout drop water on us to put out some fire around the 4th terminal, and bada bing, bada boom, 1 terminal is left. This time going back to the snout and gliding to the tip of it, we get the final terminal. The only thing left to do now is to drop back in and take out the boss. I take some defense up food because obviously I'm worried about getting one shot here, but the boss fight's a lot simpler than I remember. Basically, by utilizing ice, we can create walls to shoot around. And phase 1 goes down pretty simply like that. We create ice walls and we shoot behind them and we never get hit. Phase 2 looks like it'll be trickier with less room to maneuver, but it actually ends up being almost exactly the same. We set up our ice walls, we don't get hit by his attacks because of them, and then we shoot him from behind cover. Alright, I'm feeling a lot better about this challenge all of a sudden. We just made it to our first Divine Beast with no deaths, and we were rewarded with a heart piece as well as our first Divine Beast ability. This is the one that makes it when our hearts drop to 0, they will refill 1 time, with some bonus hearts. On a run like this is the kind of thing that will save my ass more than anything else. We have a few options now. We can stick to my original plan and head to the Goron area first, or we can head back over to Gerudo Town and get another Divine Beast ability relatively easily since we've already unlocked our access to the area. We say goodbye to the people of Zora and they give us a light scale trident as a reward. I decided to say screw it, and we travel over to Gerudo Town for the next Divine Beast. We'll hit up the Goron one after this. Back in our lady's outfit, we enter Gerudo Town and blast through all the exposition we need to in order to head to the next part of the quest. Basically, we have to go get a thunder helm from some thieves out in the desert, but before we do all that, I stop and grab a sand seal so we don't have to waste a bunch of time running through the desert. We take this bad boy as far as he'll take us, and we save a ton of time. Unfortunately, he can't take us the whole way, so part of the journey is still on foot. We now encounter what I consider to be the most annoying enemies in the game. But they also drop my favorite bows in the game, so I don't know, it comes out as a wash, I guess? We then get jumped by 6 enemies at one time, and thanks to our Divine Beast power, our lives were saved. I end up filling my inventory with duplex bows, which is very nice. Unfortunately, the Mipha's Grace ability that saved us won't be ready again for like 23 minutes, so on top of any other problems we might be having, it's our first Blood Moon. What this does is basically refills all the enemy spawns in the game, as well as makes it a very difficult night. Luckily, I don't think this is going to affect us this night because we're going to be inside the Yiga clan hideout. Inside the Yiga clan hideout, we light banners until we find the one that's the entrance, and in we go. The Yiga clan is actually an interesting part of the game because the game forces you to sneak around. I mean, it doesn't like technically force you to do anything, but like if you get caught, you get bombarded by enemies and anyway, sneaking past these dudes isn't too bad. You really only have to sneak past like 3 of them. You can actually use bananas to distract them, and that makes the sneaking really easily. If you take this ladder and you grab all the bananas from the banana room, then you can sneak around above them and use the banana to distract the guard blocking the door. The only problem with this is that I mess up the drop button about 50 times. I also nearly get caught because I fall off the platform and barely get back up, and all around I just botched the hell out of the stealth mission so bad, but without getting caught somehow. Basically, it was like a James Bond parody or something. It was like if Naked Gun did James Bond. After we get through that section, we meet up with Master Koga, and he's super excited about Link being naked for some reason, and then he tries to show off his muscles or something. It didn't really work for Link, so he turned him down, and Master Koga really didn't like the rejection, so he tries to force his balls on Link anyway. We teach Master Koga a lesson about keeping your balls to yourself, though. And after 3 phases of making him look dumb, we're rewarded with the Thunder Helm. And just like that, we're moving on. Can't believe I wrote ball jokes into the script. Back at Gerudo Town, we once again have to dress like a girl, and once again are given a bunch of exposition that we just skipped. I hope no one who doesn't know the story of Breath of the Wild is watching this because I am not covering this story well at all. Basically, we have to meet up at the next Divine Beast, but we're told to grab a sand seal again to get out of there. Like I needed to be told to grab a sand seal, come on. I realized as soon as we set off, though, that I made a mistake and I didn't make any heat-resistant food. We're gonna have to just play this one the tough way and heal as we take damage. We meet up with Riju, and she explains the whole thing is going down. We shoot bomb arrows. Wait, do I need to get bomb arrows? Oh, cool. She gives them to us. That's way nicer than the people at the Zora Kingdom. They made me get them myself. Okay, so we stay close to her with the helmet, and we shoot arrows at the Divine Beast. Easy enough. All while sand surfing. Takes me a second to get the hang of her pacing, but honestly, once we get under this thing, it's over in like a few seconds. I got the bows down at this point. There's no stopping me. And there it is. We enter Divine Beast number 2. This Divine Beast is essentially the same as the first one. We have to get a map and controls for the Divine Beast, and then we have to get to the terminals. Basically, for these Divine Beasts now, I'm just going to take it real quick because you understand the idea. So, a cheesy little glider jump gets us the map unlocked. Rotating the Divine Beast gets us Terminal 1 out of 5. Terminal 2 out of 5 takes me a little time to figure out, but I end up getting it. A little more turning the Divine Beast and a well-timed jumping, and there's Terminal 3. Terminal 4 has some corruption and a guardian protecting it, so easy enough. I'm really not that good at Zelda puzzles, to be honest, but we get the 5th terminal unlocked, and boom, it's time for the boss fight. This boss is the one I'm a little bit worried about. The first phase requires some well-timed parries. It takes me a few tries, but once I get the parry timing down, it's really not that hard. You parry, hit him until he pops back up. You dodge whatever he throws at you, and then when he moves like an anime character, that's your cue to parry him again. Phase 2 of the fight is a gimmick associated with it, where you have to use the magnet ability on one of the blocks that he throws down, or one of the spikes, whatever, and then you bring it up to him, and he gets electrocuted. I actually died to this boss on my first try, so I take another shot at it. The problem here is that he one-shots me without armor-up food, and our armor-up food only lasts a couple of minutes, so we basically have to perfect this boss and do it quickly or we won't have the armor up on phase 2. It's during my second attempt that I realized you can just dodge his attack, and a few combo hits will break through his shield, giving you some time to attack. Using this strategy and maybe breaking a few weapons gets us through phase 1 with like 15 seconds left of our food. Phase 2 is going to have to be a no-hitter. Phase 2, we get through the gimmick part really easily. It actually takes 2 rounds because the game's weird on the first one. I don't really know what's happening there. Then I shoot some bomb arrows in his face while he's down because I might as well get the extra damage in. Then he starts acting like an anime character again. We use the same trick as phase 1 and dodge, and then break his shield and do damage, and he goes down pretty easily. I won't lie, Mipha's Grace definitely saved me on phase 2. Without armor up food, everything just hits way too hard. For beating this Divine Beast, we were rewarded with another heart container as well as a nice sword and shield for our troubles. Now we won't ever have to dress like a girl again, or wear armor at all for this run. We say goodbye to Gerudo Town for good. I don't plan on ever coming back here at all. So now it's down to the last 2 divine beasts. So the question is, do we go to the birds or the rocks? I decide I have a tower closer to the rocks, so we teleport up there and set off from there towards Goron City. Instead of spending a bunch of time breaking down the path and all the nonsense that we ran into, at this point in the video, you understand the danger of what we faced. So what I've done instead is put together a little montage to show the journey into Goron City. I figure that's a better way to handle it. Welcome to Goron City. Lovely weather. Definitely no fireballs falling from the sky or anything. That would be crazy. The main challenge of this divine beast is time. We only have so many fireproof elixirs. This means that we only have so much time before we just burn alive. The other problem is that the area locks us out of all of our wooden weapons because they will all catch fire. This means no duplex bow, no bokoblin clubs. In terms of restriction, this is probably the hardest area of the game. This section is the same as every other divine beast though. We have to help the champion with something, and then we go into the divine beast. In this case, we are told the champion has gone off, and then we find out that he's hiding in a cave in a lava area. This lava area in particular requires level 2 flame resistance, which means we got about 11 minutes to get this whole section done. The intended way to accomplish this is to get on these cannons and blow up the Lizalfos as you make your way to the champion. What I do is kind of run and climb and skip all that because, you know, time is of the essence. We blow the cave door open at the end, and what do you know? There's the champion. We explain to him that we're kind of in a hurry, and luckily he understands the assignment and rolls off quick as can be. Back at Goron City, we talk to the old man and skip all the exposition and flashbacks, but he gives us 3 fireproof elixirs. They're only level 1, but hey, it's free fireproof elixirs. After that, we just meet up with our champion in front of the divine beast, which takes a little bit of traveling, but nothing crazy. Once we reach him, he's being attacked by 2 moblins, because, you know, why wouldn't he be? That gives us a perfect opportunity to show off our new ability, so I'm not mad about it. Urbosa's Fury is easily one of the coolest powers in the game. The offensive boost is insane. We then blast our bro into the bridge to drop it down, and now we can begin to climb up to the divine beast. The divine beast sends out guardian sentries that we have to whistle to help our boy get past by telling him when to go and when to stop. Before that though, I realize our worst fears are true. It requires level 2 fireproof to get through this area. So I take a quick travel back to Foothill Stable, pick up another fire lizard in order to make a level 2 fireproof elixir. This one gives us 10 minutes to get the job done. I grab 2 more lizards just to be on the safe side, but this time I get a 12.5 minute elixir. Nice. Back to the mountain climbing. We have to do this annoying section. It takes longer than it should. It's like they intentionally set it up to waste your elixirs. I end up using all of our abilities up before we even get to the top of the mountain. To slap some icing on the cake, when we get to the end, I realize I was supposed to be shooting the divine beast. That's a big L on my part. So we run back down and try to get it done, and our boy gets stuck, and I have no way to get him out. The only option is to reload and do it all over again. This time I hit the things we're supposed to along the way, after taking 3 required shots of the divine beast. This time, we have about 11 minutes left on our elixir. I'm hoping this isn't required inside of the divine beast, because if it is, we're likely screwed. Since you all understand how divine beasts go at this point, I'm going to spare you the gritty details. We get the map and controls. Hit terminal 1, hit terminal 2, terminal 3, 4, 5, and boom, it's time for the boss fight. I will say they definitely designed this beast to be handled with the flameproof armor. I had to leave and go get more elixirs and come back, but either way, this boss fight is similar to the others in that it has two phases. The first phase just involves dodging his big sword, and honestly, I just utilize ice arrows and headshots to handle this phase really easily. The second phase involves a big fireball and an impenetrable shield. It takes me a few tries to figure out that you just have to throw a bomb and he'll suck it up and you can blow him up. After that, phase 2 is just the same as phase 1. Use your arrows, get headshots, you take him down no problem. Finishing the fight with an epic Urbosa's Fury shot takes him down. For completing this one, we get another heart piece, a new ability, and Boulder Breaker, which is a heavy-hitting two-handed weapon. I'm thinking this is going to come in handy later. Before we leave Goron City, I stop and turn in our spirit orbs for a couple more heart containers. I don't know if this is actually going to save us when it comes to Guardians and the Ganon fight, but I figure it's worth a shot. We officially only have one Divine Beast left before we take on Ganon and finish the run. What I thought could be fun, since at this point the challenge is starting to wrap up, I thought it would be fun if we did like a cool transition, so let's try this. Was it cool? I hope it was cool. I didn't record any footage for the whole way over here, so I kind of needed to be cool. Alright, first order of business in Rito Village is the shrine. It's not a difficult shrine, it's simple puzzles, so we knock it out. After that, we do what we did for every other Divine Beast, basically. We go talk to a guy and find out the champion's not here. We then talk to Bro's wife and find out where Bro's at. I follow her directions, but once I cross the ravine, I realize we actually have a problem here. It turns out, this area of the game requires cold resistance level 2. I don't have the means to accomplish that currently, and my plan as it stands is to lose health slowly. The first fight here is a perfect example of how good of a plan it is. We are saved by Mipha's grace. See? Genius plan, obviously. We try to finish the quest line before freezing to death. We meet up with our champion and he asks us to prove ourselves by completing a little shooting range with our bow. This is actually super easy because each time you pull out your glider, it refills your stamina bar. So we very quickly knock out 5 targets, which is all he asked us to do. Even while freezing slowly, we get this done so quick it doesn't even matter. Then the champion gives us 20 bomb arrows. He's also cool. Why does the Zora pupils suck so bad? And then we set off to get onto the Divine Beast. In order to get onto this one, we basically have to do the shooting range section again, but this time we're shooting spots on the Divine Beast with bomb arrows to take down his shield. I knocked this section out with ease. This Divine Beast is exactly like the last one where I should have resistance level 2 in order to not take damage, but this time I opt to just try and survive through it while slowly freezing to death. Other than the elements playing a factor, you know the drill at this point. First we get the map and controls. While working towards the first terminal, when I went to refill my hearts I realized I did have some level 2 cold resistance food, so for 5 minutes that helped us a lot. We get to Terminal 1, then Terminal 2. Our cold resistance is already worn off at this point. I told you I'm not very good at these puzzles. We get Terminal 3, Terminal 4, and of course Terminal 5. Now for the tough part. Can we beat the boss while consistently losing hearts to the weather the whole time? To be honest, it goes way easier than I had even imagined. Other than keeping an eye on my health the whole time as it drains, just using bomb arrows really wipes the floor with this boss. I think throughout phase 1, I only got hit like once, and on phase 2, I didn't get hit at all. Hitting this guy with headshots completely stun locks him where he can't even fire a single shot at you. Back at Rito Village, our reward for this one is an amazing bow that definitely will come in handy at the Ganon fight. Honestly, with all the Divine Beasts now finished, there's only 2 things left to do. The first thing is only for subscribers, so if you subscribe, keep watching. Otherwise, like, close your eyes, bro, or like, look away. Okay, so I told you all we would parry a Guardian laser at some point, so here it is. I absolutely decimate this Guardian with my amazing parrying skills. Wow. Totally worth hitting that subscribe button, right? Right? Anyway, the other thing I do is travel back to Kakaro Village. Why? You might be asking right now, maybe? Well, you didn't forget about Donut, did you? I told you we're going to take this boy straight to Ganon. I wanted to take a moment while we were on this journey with Donut, heading towards Hyrule Castle, to say I really appreciate every single one of you who's made it this far in the video. It would really helped me with the algorithm if you liked the video, and if you felt like subscribing to signal to me that you want to see more content like this, I'd really appreciate that as well. While we were doing the plugging YouTube interaction thing, does anyone have a suggestion on what game or challenge I should do next? Honestly, I'm up for basically any game at this point. I had a lot of fun making this video, and even though this challenge wasn't really that difficult, it was a good warm-up to get me back in the groove of doing a challenge run. Unfortunately, right before we reached Hyrule Castle, tragedy strikes. Although we were dodging lasers with the best of them, our luck ran out. Donut took a few lasers and our good boy went down. I'd like to take a moment of silence in honor of our fallen comrade. Getting to Ganon while naked certainly isn't the easiest feat ever. Hyrule Castle is crawling with guardians and other bad things that really can take you out very easily. There are flying sentries that shoot lasers, as well as guardians themselves that shoot lasers. I nearly died within the first minute of entering the castle grounds. Now, maybe, honestly, I'm not that good at stealth. Luckily, Mipha's Grace and Rivali's Gale save our buns on this one. A little further into the castle area, I try my luck with a white Lionel. Nah, that's like impossible while naked. The dude straight up one-shots you no matter what you do. Like, it can't even be done. I try for a while. I have some pretty good attempts, but I ended up saying screw it and continue our journey to Ganon. Maybe the white Lionel was the real boss after all. Psych! Are you kidding me, bro? I can't make a challenge video and then back down from a challenge. We'll give it a few more tries and we wipe the floor with that bitch-ass Lionel. I'm not afraid of nothing. Anywho, so I go back to sneaking past the Guardians and Sentinels that I don't want to fight, and with a few Rivali's Gales, we make it straight to the front door. Now we can answer the age-old question, who wins? A demon lord who has all but destroyed this world for the last 100 years, or a boy who woke up from a really long nap and didn't even bother to put clothes on? Before we get into it fully, I'm going to disable all of our Guardian abilities. What, you didn't think I was going to make it that easy, did you? First, we do some really good damage with bows, and I basically just shut them down. But then on top of the fact that our damage is high, and we're doing really well, I also managed to parry a few of his laser beams. Like, it's a risky move when you have no armor and can easily be one-shot to death, but pulling it off, and first try of all things, was icing on the cake. Technically, Ganon starts with half health because we did the Divine Beast, and that does make the fight easier, but with how easily we took him out, I really don't think it mattered at all. Like, the fight was as convincing as it gets. Ganon never stood a chance. Ganon's final phase, as everyone knows, is more of a formality than everything. You get a special bow with infinite arrows, and you have to hit targets that Zelda sets up with you. After you take off enough targets, a giant eye opens up in his head, and you shoot that for the kill. It's really just a matter of riding a horse around, which actually I had trouble with. The horse must have heard what happened to Donut, and he doesn't want to cooperate with us. Or maybe Link's just traumatized and he doesn't want to ride a horse after Donut. Either way, there it is, folks. That's it. We beat Breath of the Wild with no armor. Well, mostly. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.